What up? I've got my boy Anthony from 10 Second Songs here. I got Derek from Some Black Guy on YouTube, and it's a great fucking day for rock. It's a great day for heavy metal. I am very excited, and this was intended at one point to be a discussion speculating about who it was that was going to play on tour with Rex Brown and Phil Anselmo, who would honor the great legacy of the Abbott brothers. And literally fucking seconds before I hit record, I learned that we now have confirmation on who exactly it will be. Anthony doesn't know it. Derek doesn't know it. And so they're going to learn in real time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a little drum roll here if I can get this to work. Here comes the drum roll.
Don't drop it yet. Don't drop it yet. Don't drop it yet.
All right.
I want to see if the guests, do you guys have okay, well, you can't do it, obviously, Brian, but
I don't know, man. I can't guess. Because my guess would have been...
Guess? Who?
My guess would have been Zach Wilde as one of them.
Okay. Okay, what about the drummer?
Yeah, what about drums?
Well, it was rumored, because I saw a couple of articles, and we were talking about this, that Charlie Benante was going to be on there, which was kind of I can see that, but I don't know. I thought that maybe it would have been a good idea to have like a revolving door of musicians, like not a set lineup, like it'd be a different person every time.
Sure.
So that's all I know. I don't have any real predictions, but now that you know exactly who it is, I'm anxious.
Now you know exactly. Okay, interesting.
So for all the fans out there of Pantera that are as fucking pumped about this as we are, here it is. If you're watching this live, which this will be out immediately after we finish this. So you're watching this recorded minutes ago. So here are the confirmation. This is on Blabbermouth. All credit to Blabbermouth here. I'm putting this up on the screen, and I'm going to read this to you guys in real time. We have it. It's official. Zach Wilde and Charlie Benante to tour with Pantera's surviving members. They've done it right.
There you go.
All right.
They've done it right. Now, how do we know this? How is this confirmed? It says... according to Billboard, the lineup has been given a green light by the estates of the band's founders. So this is not just backed. A lot of people were like, this is disrespectful to the Abbott brothers. They have gotten approval from the estates, from the families, from the loved ones. The estates of Vincent Paul Abbott and Dimebag Darrell Abbott, as well as Rex Brown, who, again, last year, I'm not knocking him for this. We all say things that may change. He said it wasn't going to happen. It's clear now that this has worked out, and it is going to happen. So I'm going to give you my thoughts first, and then I'm going to go to y'all. I think this is fucking awesome. I think this is one of the coolest things to happen in a long time. I have never gotten the opportunity to see Pantera live. I know a lot of people that have, and you know what? That's fucking great, but I haven't, so I'm going to every one of these shows, baby. Yeah. All right, Anthony, what do you think, dude?
I think I'm more excited than I expected myself to be. Because in recent years, I've seen the shape that Phil's voice has been in live, and I've seen the live sets that he has performed with his band, playing Pantera songs, and I was kind of just indifferent about it. I felt like, they're a lot older now, way past their prime. No offense, that's just what happens when you get older, and heavy metal, especially really hardcore heavy metal, is a young man's game, especially if you're not really taking care of your voice. But then I started thinking about a couple of things. First thing that came to mind was that I saw a cover of Motorhead's Ace of Spades with Phil Anselmo and a couple of other people. I forget who else he performed it with. And this was recent. And I was actually impressed with how he sounded. He sounded a lot stronger than he has in years. And I even made a comment on that video about it. So that's number one. I think I feel like he's done some work on himself, Phil. Rex, I mean, he's seemed out of it for many years, but I'm sure he'll be fine. The other thing that came to mind about it was that, I love Pantera. They were my favorite band in high school, and I never got to see them live either. I was excited when Damage Plan came out because I was like, all right, this is at least something, but I never got to see them either. I had opportunities, and then we all know what happened. It was the most bizarre, tragic thing to ever happen to a band ever.
Shocking.
And I think sometimes we forget how bizarre and tragic it really is, because it didn't happen before that, and it never happened again after that. And then, you know, there were just years of grudges and talks of people just making amends. I mean, I would have been happy if they just made amends. I didn't even really care about a reunion tour, you know? And then Vinnie died without ever making that, you know, there was no closure. There was nothing. And part of me is like, oh, this is not right that they're not there. And it just, they never got to actually sign off on this and stuff. But the other part of me is like, they were such a huge, their legacy was so big, and I feel like it should be kept intact, and it shouldn't be, there's such a stain on their legacy because of how tragic it is. And I feel like there needs to be some kind of celebration, some kind of spiritual cleansing of their name in some way, like a celebration, something. I know that, like, if you really think about it, don't you think that, like, after all said and done, you know, when we die, whatever you feel about an afterlife or not, I know that I would think that the brothers would want something like this, like, you know, a celebration of what this was. Like, they have fans all over the world. I'm still a huge fan of Pantera, and it's sad to me because I have mixed feelings when I listen to them, because, like, it makes me sad. I want to feel some joy again when it comes to with their music, because that's all I associated their music with in my high school years. Joy and just, like, raging and just like partying, having a good time. So I'm gonna be there. I'm 100% gonna be there. At first, I wasn't that excited about it because of, you know, obvious reasons, but I'm excited. That's it.
Derek, what do you think, man? That's a very good take.
Right. I mean, yeah, very elaborate, man, because that's it. It is a very kind of complex situation, because it's not just dudes retired getting back together. It's not like a Slayer situation or something where if, like, Slayer just came back again, or like Ozzy Osbourne saying I'm done, and then they kind of like, oh, cool, or something. It's just there was so much baggage, and because of that, never in my wildest dreams did I think anything like this would ever happen. It seems so, like, don't even ask for it. Like, why don't waste your breath. It's just like it's so to this to happen, and I don't know why Rex changed his feelings. What happened to feel like this is the right thing to do and this is the right time? But awesome, and lineup is great because that's something that needs to be obviously respected. Who's going to play? Obviously, everybody's going to be respectful, but are the people is everybody going to be happy? And yeah, I think everybody's going to be happy. And I was thinking about what was, because you mentioned Motorhead in a cover of Ace of Spades, and I was thinking, what is Mickey D up to? Because I was thinking, I want him because I love him. He's one of my favorite drummers. And I was thinking, what is he doing? Maybe go to Pantera or something. That'd be great. I don't think he's doing anything right now. I think he's just fucking hanging around or something. So, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm happy with this. I am definitely going to catch a show too. That is 100%. And one thing that I've been meaning to do is because, just a little side, me and Phil have a teeny bit of history together. It's so stupid. But I made a video about him. It was not the first video that ever blew up on my main channel, where I was talking about a situation with him on stage, and it was very misunderstood. You know, everybody kind of assumed he was being racist. And I even somewhat myself, too, was a little bit misled by something that, I guess I'll leave out any names, but there was another, you know, big rocker that was kind of talking about it. That the whole thing even came out. Phil and I, we kind of talked behind the scenes a little bit, but I've always wanted to just actually talk to him face to face, and also just kind of like reiterate. I apologized on video, but I also kind of wanted to like personally just talk to him and tell him, like, I want to go to a show and just like reach out and just talk to him real quick. And that's something that I feel like I need to do this, and here's my opportunity to do it. He's going to be active. Obviously, they're going to tour everywhere. You're not going to just keep Pantera on just one little region or something. So
take this to all continents.
Yeah, dude, it has to. So I'm stoked, man. That's really cool. It's really cool news. And certain songs that I like, I'm probably one of the very few people that my brother, he gave me a cassette mix. So my first song that I ever heard was Cemetery Gates. I was probably one of the first few that heard that first before anything else. So I was kind of like, I think I was like 13 or something. I'm like, who is this? The only metal bands that I heard before was like, I think I was listening to Mortal Kombat soundtrack that had Fear Factory on it or something. And there's maybe a little bit of Rammstein around or something. I was hearing bands like that, a little bit of Slipknot, maybe Disturbed was out. Didn't hear anything like that. And then that's when I started pouring into their catalog, and I'm like, this band and Dimebag, I have not heard guitar like this, I'm just happy. I'm really happy that like I get to hear that shit live, and get maybe an opportunity to talk to Phil. It'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think that the interesting thing about all of this, too, one person in the situation that I think deserves a lot of props is, last year, Rex is making definitive statements like, it ain't happening with Zach. It ain't happening with Zach. Now, I think it's fair to say, and y'all let us know in the comments what you think, but I think it's fair to say that the overwhelming majority of people would prefer that it be Zach Wilde, who ended up becoming the person.
Right.
At some point, Rex changed his mind, and he felt very strongly about it. I don't know why. I just know that he did. And props to motherfuckers that can change their mind and be reasonable and can go, hey, you know what? If the fucking fans really want this guy, I don't know how it went down, but the bottom line is, I feel like they made the right call here.
I think it all comes down to draw. These are big names. I mean, you're talking Anthrax and Zach Wilde, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because but I'm
history.
Curious because I don't know. I'll be honest. Anthrax is the one metal band that I listen to the least out of everybody, and I don't know how he's gonna. I mean, I was just talking about Vinnie Paul the other day because I've been on. It's funny that all of this is even happening because I've been on a Far Beyond Driven kick, specifically that album. And the thing that just drives me crazy about that album is the rhythm section. And specifically, I've been paying very close attention to how tight Vinnie Paul was and how inventive he was with his double bass, the double kick drums, and the triplets. And he had very signature things that he did that were like rhythmic changes, triplets, and then, and I'm curious to hear if these guys can really nail that shit. And not just get by with it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it like nailed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a big shoes to fill.
Right.
Yes, and I think that, I don't know a ton about Charlie, but I know he's a legend. I'm sure I know he's going to do a great job. But particularly with Zach, I mean, look, I'm fucking biased.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the guy. I'm fucking biased. So let's just get that out of the way right fucking now because I love Zach Wilde. He's the fucking GOAT to me. He's one of my favorite musicians on the planet.
It's just going to be very interesting to hear the lineup of what they're going to play. Because, like, even though I love Zach Wilde, I know I hear him doing certain things really well, and other things it's just going to be almost surreal to see him play. Like, Strength Beyond Strength, like more like the really fast stuff, and then really chug heavy ass riffs. These heavy riffs that Dime would play that aren't really that like that was the thing about Dime was that he had some of the best groove metal rhythm riffs and thrash riffs, in metal, plus the lead playing. So it's like, not to say that I don't think Zach Wilde can do it. It's just that I'm curious because this has been because look, this has been talked about for many years. This is back when after Dime died, they had talked speculation about
I found articles all the way back to then
that mentioned would look like and get Zach Wilde to play. Now that would have been something. Zach Wilde with Vinnie Paul, that's even more. Yeah. But hey, you know what? Here we are.
This
2022,
is
2023.
I mean, I didn't expect this to fucking happen, and especially yesterday, as soon as I found out, I was like, okay. I said in the video, I'm like, there's smart people involved. I want to believe they know the money, the amount of people, and the history that's being made. This is without a doubt the biggest tour announcement in my view. This is up there. For me personally, this is bigger than when Guns N' Roses got back together. I mean, it is to me. It's a big deal to me. I've never gotten to see them live. So to me, this goes back to this is probably the biggest metal tour per se. since the Big Four was announced. That's how I see it.
I was just talking about them yesterday too, about how, like, their album. I mean, Far Beyond Driven to me is like when I think about the '90s, and I think of music, heavy metal music that was mainstream, but also the heaviest mainstream. Like Pantera, they got heavier each album, but yet they got bigger, and they would spill over into the mainstream without having to compromise who they are. That was what was special about Pantera. They got darker and heavier and heavier, almost like it was a monster that just kept getting more and more like brolic every album, and it just kept getting. It got so big that it couldn't contain itself, and it exploded, and obviously it ended very tragically, but that was the cool thing about them, is that they would bleed into the mainstream, and I think there was an article about it just recently that talking about how it was in Far Beyond Driven was like one of the heaviest albums to ever hit number one. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's crazy to me to, there's a lot of folks out there that are saying, okay, this is a cash grab, this is this is that. Maybe to people that had the opportunity to see Pantera 15 fucking times, it's a cash grab. But I promise you, I'm not going to name any prices here, but there are amounts that I would pay for the ticket price where if they come out there, and here's the thing, Zakk Wylde is fucking built for this. He can carry this challenge on his shoulders. He is going to fucking deliver. That dude's a fucking animal. He is going to obsessively perfect this until the moment from now until whenever in 2023 this happens. He is not going to disappoint. I don't see that being possible. This is a guy that takes what he does very fucking seriously, that chugs coffee all day and fucking slams the guitar. That's what he does. He knows what he's good at. And I think that when he comes out on stage, if I was a betting man, he's going to be fucking ready for this.
I agree. I don't think with it being this big, they can't mess around, right? This can't be like Vince Neil kind of coming back, like, if you know what I'm saying. It's not gonna be one of those things where it's just like coming back all iffy, or it's just like maybe you want to call that a cash grab. I feel like this is. I think you even made a point that Phil is sounding sharper. He's sounding better. Like, oh, he's So I think it's like there's maybe been in the back of his head, like, I want to do this. I'm practicing. I'm getting better. He's bringing these people. They know how important this is going to be to everybody and people who love. Because my friend was at a bar like a couple of months ago, and all of a sudden there is a classic argument, Pantera versus Metallica, breaking out. Again, it's just happening again. It's just people just doing, who's better? Well, I think this, I think that. And it's like, this shit's never gonna die. It's gonna keep going.
It really is a tough question.
It's an interesting question. I think it really comes down to taste. At the end of the day, it's like, it maybe you like a little bit more melody, or maybe like, say, a little heavier. It's hard. It's a hard question. If you like everything, it's a hard thing to just kind of like just definitively say they're better. Right.
Still to this day,
and for a good reason.
Still to this day, and I've gone really deep into heavy metal and all different types of underground stuff. Just recently I was on a strict like Soilwork kick, and Death. I was obsessed with Death in high school, like Chuck Schuldiner and Sepultura, and I listened to a lot of metal, but for some reason I always just come back to I come back to Metallica and Pantera as my comfort albums, and and I love all Metallica.
We've talked about this many times.
I love all Metallica, even Load and Reload. It depends on what mood.
He was at the S&M taping in person. Yeah. He saw that performance in person.
Was done in San Francisco, I believe, or Germany. But I was at...
No, I thought the orchestral performance was recorded in New York at those shows. I'm fairly confident about that.
But I was at Madison Square Garden November of 1999. That was my first concert. And that was a real inspiring thing for me to see. But around that time, that was like around like when Napster was getting popular. So that was when I started to really... You want to talk about gateway bands. Metallica was a gateway band, and that was when I found Pantera. I've had, like, you used to be able to talk to people on Napster, and people would actually suggest music. Hey, try Pantera, try this out.
Yeah.
And I would. I remember I was like, what's the word? I was intimidated by Pantera at first because I wasn't really used to any harsh vocals aside from like what the heaviest James Hetfield sang, you know. So when I heard fucking Hostile and I heard that last scream, I was like, yo, that is like, it almost scared me, you know. But then I'm like, and then once I warmed up to it, I couldn't stop. And Pantera quickly became one of my more, because, well, going back to Phil, the one thing, you know, the one difference between a situation like Phil and Vince Neil is that you can't, despite, you know, anything, I mean, you can't deny that Phil's got passion to be the best that he can be, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have seen Phil Anselmo in person a couple of months ago backstage at Welcome to Rockville, and he was there to perform, and he was going somewhere. I was in the media area. He's going to do an interview. The motherfucker's in shape. He's cut. He's got his shit together. He's fit. He is not going to have, unless something changes, right now that dude has his shit together. And so I know that. I have seen that in person. He's not overweight. He's in good shape. He's taking care of himself. He appears to be clean and on his game. And so that even more pumps me up. I am probably going to follow this tour around like the Grateful Dead or something.
He seems a lot more humble in interviews too. Like legit,
Yes.
legit humble. Like not like I'm putting on an act humble. Like it seems like he's been humbled by life type stuff.
I need him to be, though, a bit of a cock star. Like I need a little bit of that. I don't want to be too
that's
nice.
part of his. That's
like
part
I
of
need
his
Phil
stage.
to
I'm
be.
sure that once he's in front of like, you know, however many thousands of people are out there, he's gonna he's gonna, you know, kind of snap back into character. But
right, absolutely. I mean, they're just some of the baddest to ever do it, and I think this is also a great moment because you have a lot of people that are paying attention to rock and metal again that probably haven't for quite some time. Like, you know, I theorize that a lot of folks have moved. If you look, this may be controversial to say, but it's the fucking truth. A lot of hard rock acts just became country bands. A lot of people that would have been hard rock acts are over in country right now, and they're in country music, and they're playing. A lot of country music is very close to hard rock. If you listen to the instrumentals, a lot of it, you change a couple minor details, and you probably got a lot of people that have been fucking listening to country that are like, what? Pantera's getting back together? Hell yeah, brother. And then they're fucking going, and they're going to go to these shows, and maybe they'll be interested in a lot of the fucking great rock and metal bands that we have right now that aren't getting any help from mainstream. They're not being paid attention to. I mean, This article was in Billboard. This is pop culture with Pantera. This is a lot of people that probably haven't fucked with metal since Pantera's day that are taking a look again.
Yeah, and they got a lot of controversy around them. Obviously, you know, Phil got himself into trouble a couple of times, and then, you know, everything that happened. But they really were one of the most brilliant and influential heavy metal acts of all time. I mean, they influenced so much shit in this genre.
I'm hoping it'll inspire other people, because there's some people sitting down in the sidelines that can either get together or there's little disagreeable differences. There's reasons why they're not playing anymore or whatever the reasoning is. I always think about, and I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm sorry, I just had to answer this, but I need System of a Down to make new music.
I knew it. I knew it.
I need that so desperately, and it's like everybody's ready except for, you know, I don't need to get into it, but
it's Serge and Darren.
Sad.
I interviewed
Everyone's
Chavo.
getting so much older. You know, it's like we don't have the same.
Right.
I think he even said, I saw somewhere. I hate saying I saw somewhere without showing a source, but he even said he can't scream as much like like he used to. A lot of people can't.
Well, I've also read he's not into heavy shit.
He's not.
Really. Like
That's
on the,
right,
on the
yeah.
real, he's not into
As
heavy.
you
Which
get
is,
older,
yeah, he's like, I'm not
as
really
you get
in.
older,
I mean, he barely got through Toxicity, and then you saw
He's
how
so good at it though.
That's what's so. It reminds me. I have a friend. He's like a prodigy. He was a prodigy with a guitar. He was one of the best guitarists I ever done. Even like say, even with some people that are pretty famous, this guy's just dumb. But he's like, I just like, jamming a little bit. I'm a nurse. It's cool. And this guy has written like composed masterpieces that a guy offered him like thousands of dollars. Like, can I buy your pieces? Like, it's all right. I don't know, thanks. And he's just so good, and he's like, well, it's all right. And I feel like Serge is like, I'm good with what I'm doing. That was fun, but I'm like, what can you do? What can you do with that?
Well, it's like I told Chavo when I interviewed him, I'm like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, at least y'all still play shows.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'll take that. If you can't do the records, I respect it. I wish it wasn't that way, but just keep playing fucking shows. You guys go do some shows, because I can tell you I've seen them live, and they are unbelievably good. They are so fucking good. And I think they all seem to enjoy playing live. A few big shows a year, a couple up on the East Coast, a couple on the West Coast, and 5 shows here, 5 shows there. Enough where you can drive 2 to 3 hours. If you're a diehard, you'll fucking drive 3 hours to go see a band if you're able to. So I hope that is something they're able to work through, because man, it's. I would love to hear what they could do today. I like Serge's solo material. I like Darren's Scars on Broadway, and it's like, but when they come together, it's fucking magic.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave us a little taste, right, when they did those 2 songs for the Armenian War. What's going on?
2 great songs.
So it's like they can still write. They can still do it if they desire, because it wasn't like, oh, they fell off. This is trash. No, it was solid. I thought it was solid. I thought the tracks were solid.
It was dope.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I
liked it. The fans liked it. It's good live.
Right. Just come on, a little bit of inspiration now. Pantera's back. Come on, like maybe something will just inspire some people. Like, man, George is like, I never thought Pantera would ever get back together. That's insane.
Yeah, whoever thought that day was going to come. I didn't even think this was going to happen, because I just thought it was too little too late for a long time. Too little too late. That was just my feeling about it.
Right.
And I'm interested to the people who have been commenting. There's been a lot of people that have been saying, this is disrespectful to the Abbott brothers. Well, now we have the fact that the estates both agree to this and support it. That is in the details. So the question is, as long as these are just shows, I don't want them to do an album, obviously. I don't want them to. No,
that'd be
no way.
A little weird. That'd be a little weird.
So, I mean, nobody's saying they're going to do that. So, I mean, they're not going to. That's not happening. So, they're doing everything right. They're doing this right. They are showing everything I'm seeing so far. I'm like, fuck, I can't miss this. At least an hour and a half. And here's the other thing I wanted to touch on about this is, Derek, I think you said earlier that you were hopeful that they would maybe bring in a rotating cast.
No, it's Anthony.
Now, Anthony, yeah. So if anybody who's involved with this tour is watching this, I would suggest leave some space in the show for if fucking Dave Grohl wants to show up. I mean, I don't see them not doing that. There will be. I think what you're going to see is it's not like just you're going to go.
Because think about Dimebag. I think they do that all the time.
Right.
I would be surprised if they didn't.
You got to bring. Yeah, it has to happen. Like, exactly. I would be surprised. I would expect every show is going to be pretty unique when it comes to who the fuck doesn't want to come out and play with Pantera.
I know.
Right.
Everybody.
I mean, come on, dude. Yeah, that's just this is an unbelievable opportunity. I don't think they're going to make a record. So when they say this is a cash grab, it's like, I don't see it that way. If I pay money for a ticket and I go to see the show, I don't see there being any scenario in the current climate that I'm not going to go, man, this is fucking amazing.
Right.
That's your latest update from Rockfeed. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future stories. Check out the recommended videos on your screen and visit rockfeed.net for more.